22 Labour MPs protest over new COVID restrictions. 2 Labour frontbenchers departed tonight to violate their party whip and vote against obligatory NHS Covid cards and mandatory immunizations for NHS personnel. There were 22 votes against expanding the Covid vaccination mandate to health and social care workers, whereas 8 votes against obligatory NHS Covid passes. Rachael Maskell, a former NHS doctor, gave up her job as a shadow minister in Labour's digital, culture, media, and sport team because she doesn't want people to be forced to get vaccines. Mick Whitley, a Labour frontbencher, also resigned as Ed Miliband's parliamentary private secretary. 61 Conservatives and 22 Labour MPs voted against obligatory vaccinations for NHS personnel. Theresa May, Conservative; David Cameron, Conservative; Andrew Gwynne, 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 Conservative; John McDonnell, Conservative; and Mohammed Yasin, Conservative. During the discussion, Bell Ribeiro Addy, Andy MacDonald, Kim Johnson, and Clive Efford all expressed worry over mandatory vaccinations, echoing the views of Labour-affiliated trade unions. Omicron, a fast-spreading virus, has persuaded Labour that all NHS personnel should be vaccinated. Wes Streeting said that they do not favour mandatory vaccines in general. Despite rejecting mandated vaccines for NHS and care workers earlier this year, he stated Labour now supports them. As for the COVID vaccination, Streeting argues that the April deadline for employees to acquire it is enough time to administer it without a staff exodus. On Monday, Liverpool Wavertree MP requested Sajid Javid to pause his mandatory immunizations scheme. Despite widespread opposition in the Commons, he refused. Kim Johnson, a Unison MP from the Labour Party's left, spoke out against the NHS's chronic understaffing. Mandatory immunizations, she said, might be harmful. Many of those unvaccinated are new starters, according to Andy MacDonald, a former shadow cabinet member. He favoured persuasion over force. When asked about defying the Labour whip on COVID, Graham Stringer, who voted against tightening the North West lockdown in October, said he would also disobey it. NHS personnel are still unvaccinated, according to Sajid Javid. He also said that the decision to make COVID shots mandatory for care home personnel star